Denago Powersports is an American-based company leveraging global manufacturing to bring affordably priced powersports vehicles to American consumers. Denago partners with Tao Motor in China, taking advantage of their modern production facilities to build machines to Denago's specifications for the US market. One of their machines that caught our attention was the Daytona 250 Fi Sport ATV. New for the 2025 model year and recommended for riders age 16 and up, its $2,699 price tag is reminiscent of the late 1980s, when the sport ATV segment was thriving. One common problem with smaller brands has been the lack of parts availability. Denago tells us that they operate a 700,000 square foot warehouse centrally located near Dallas, Texas, stocked with everything needed to maintain their vehicles. Additionally, the Daytona and other models are covered by a 6-month parts and labor warranty, similar to the big brands. With all of this taken into consideration, when Denago asked if we'd be interested in testing the new Daytona 250, we decided to take them up on their offer. ATV On Demand's first test of the Denago Daytona 250 Fi was made possible by make staying in contact simple with the wireless PackTalk Edge ORV communication system from Cardo. Dynamic mesh communication provides up to a 1-mile range between units and up to 5 miles in larger groups. Water, dust, and mud-proof, it offers easy in-helmet installation with sound by JBL. Offering hands-free voice-activated operation with up to 13 hours of talk time on a single charge. PackTalk is ideal for both in-car and car-to-car communication, allowing you to connect up to 15 units at one time. Ideal for side-by-sides, ATVs, dirt bikes, or any other type of off-road use.
You guys ready? We're ready. Roll it.
Learn more or order yours now at cardosystems.com. Offering outstanding value in its category, Maxima ATV Full Syn is a full synthetic ester-based 4-stroke engine oil, specifically formulated for all sport and utility ATV engines. Advanced proprietary additives reduce temperatures and increase power output while keeping your engine running clean. Maxima Full Syn meets or exceeds all OEM requirements. Available at your local powersports dealer or at maximausa.com. Trim packages. Keeping things simple, Denago offers one trim package for the Daytona 250. Utilizing painted plastic, the Daytona is available in 5 different colors, with 5 or more color options across Denago's lineup. MSRP for the Daytona 250 is an attractive $2,699. Affordable, yet not cheap enough to be considered disposable. Is it worth it? Watch on and find out. Rider and location. Riding the Denago was yours truly, standing 6 feet tall and weighing 200 pounds. Testing took place on the cross-country race course of East Fork MX and on some private hilly trails in southeast Indiana. Engine performance. The Daytona 250 is powered by an air-cooled 2-valve single overhead cam 4-stroke engine with a remote oil cooler to help keep temperatures in check. Fuel injection ensures that the engine runs more reliably on today's ethanol-blended pump gas, which can quickly gum up carburetors. The 1.3-gallon metal tank is a bit small, but the 250 didn't seem overly thirsty during our trail testing. Air is drawn from an airbox located under the seat. Unfortunately, accessing the air filter for maintenance is highly inconvenient. You must remove the battery and rear fenders to access the screws to remove the side of the airbox, or remove the entire box from the machine. This design needs to be reworked. Electric start fires the engine quickly, even after sitting for a few weeks. It takes slightly longer to start when hot. You must pull in the brake lever to start the Daytona, but it will start in gear with the clutch out, an odd safety setup. A factory-installed tether kill switch is a welcome safety feature. The chrome steel exhaust with a short silencer emits a throaty, somewhat loud tone. The racer in us loves it, the neighbors may not. Out on the trail, the engine is capable. Low-end power is plentiful for a small 250. Great for technical trails or casual cruising. It also helps beginners learning to manage a manual clutch. As the RPMs climb, the 250 Fi delivers a respectable mid-range and top-end power. We found ourselves ripping up some long climbs at higher RPMs to ensure success. Although the engine was happy to lug up a gear higher thanks to its well-tuned electronic fuel injection. Overall, the fun factor is solid, with enough power to kick the rear end out when traction is low. The engine's top end is paired with a fully manual 4-speed transmission with reverse. First gear is shifted up from neutral, with reverse 1 shift down. Fortunately, you can't shift into reverse while moving, although we didn't try to force it. Shifting into first was difficult if the engine wasn't at idle. Final drive is handled by a non-O-ring chain, acceptable on small bore machines for its lower friction and efficiency. Clutch pull is light. While we typically prefer 5 gears, the Daytona's broad power band and well-spaced 4-speed gearbox worked surprisingly well. First gear is low enough for tight trails and easy takeoffs, while the gaps between second, third, and fourth are even, providing plenty of top speed in fourth for the machine's size, suspension, and handling. A throttle limiting screw is equipped for beginners. We would, however, like to see a lower gearing in reverse to make backing out of tight spots easier. The clutch exhibits a bit of chatter on takeoffs when hot, and the gearbox doesn't like to shift under power. Overall, the engine is a strong point on the Daytona 250 Fi. Suspension and handling. The Daytona 250 Fi features a tubular steel chassis with dual A-arm front suspension. The lower arms have 2 mounting holes for the shock eyelets, allowing minor adjustments of ride height and firmness. Out back, a swing arm and solid rear axle are paired with a no-link suspension setup. Plastic guards protect the front of the lower A-arms and the axle carrier area on the swing arm, although the frame lacks protection. The chassis features Zerk fittings for easy lubrication and a simple-to-use round housing chain adjustment system. The front shocks feature piggyback reservoirs claimed to contain nitrogen, impressive at this price point. The rear shock lacks a reservoir, which is odd, as it handles more of the workload with less airflow and would benefit from additional cooling. All 3 shocks feature threaded preload adjustment. The tires and wheels appear better suited for a small utility machine. Basic aluminum wheels would be lighter than the current mag-style cast aluminum setup. The tires could use a more open, sport-oriented tread pattern. Their sizes, 21/7/10 front and 20/10/10 rear, are pretty appropriate for a sport ATV. The Daytona has claimed measurements of 39.3 inches wide with a 42-inch wheelbase, 28.7-inch seat height, 5 inches of ground clearance, and a dry weight of 396 pounds. Its closest competitor from a major OEM, the Honda TRX 250X, measures in at 42 inches wide with a 44.3-inch wheelbase, 31.4-inch seat height, 5.7 inches of ground clearance, and a curb weight with fluids of 385 pounds. We'd like the Denago to be slightly larger overall, given its weight and 16+ age recommendation. Suspension performance does not match the engine. The shocks are over-dampened, resulting in a ride that's harsh over small to medium-sized bumps. While they did not bottom out over larger hits, we would gladly trade some bottoming resistance for a more compliant ride elsewhere. Without a reservoir and being over-dampened, the rear shock heated up and faded severely during testing, which ironically made it perform better. After cooling, it returned to its stiff behavior. These shocks are better than a rigid chassis, but their setup is way off. Spring preload and front shock mounting position changes make minimal difference. More adjustments are not the answer. Proper damping and spring rates are. Steering effort is slightly heavy, but the Daytona tracks predictably. Its low seat and firm suspension keep it planted. It remains pretty stable on climbs, descents, and turns. A bit more width and wheelbase would improve overall confidence, but handling remains pretty manageable on the trail. The chunky wheel and tire setup provide ample grip and don't noticeably hinder performance, though a lighter, more sport-focused setup would improve acceleration and ride quality. Brakes. The Daytona 250 Fi uses dual hydraulic disc brakes front and a single hydraulic disc rear, which are operated separately. Exactly what we'd expect from a true sport ATV. Rear braking performance and feel are both good. The front brakes work adequately well, but feel slightly softer. A quick bleeding at the dealership would likely firm things up. Ergonomics and other details. For a 6-foot-tall rider, the Daytona 250 offers just enough room for casual riding. When the trail gets rough and body movement becomes necessary, the ergonomics feel cramped. The machine will likely fit riders 5'6" and under best. The handlebar height and bend are comfortable, as are the large steel foot pegs. Plastic heel guards are pretty typical. The steel Nerf bars may add some safety, but will collect mud in wet conditions. In riding boots, we had little trouble operating the shifter or rear brake pedal. However, the clutch and rear brake levers are poorly shaped, requiring 4-finger operation instead of 2. This is a drawback in rough terrain. Wraparound handguards are a nice touch, as is the bright digital instrument display. The seat is long, relatively flat, and easy to move around on. Heavier riders may notice the front seat hook popping loose, and our seat cover tore early on in testing. Thicker vinyl would be an improvement. The switch layout is confusing. What's typically the light switch controls power on and off, and what's typically the power switch controls the lights. LED lights are found at both ends, though the front beams are weak for serious nighttime riding. Denago's painted plastics enable color variety, which we like, but lack the resilience of color-impregnated plastic. Minor overspray is visible on the unpainted underside, although not overly concerning. Conclusion. While the Denago Daytona 250 Fi is half the price of a Honda TRX 250X, you certainly get more than half the machine. We rode the little Denago hard for several days with no breakage issues to report. Strong engine performance, decent handling, and capable brakes are its highlights. Some suspension refinement and a few design tweaks would go a long way in elevating its sport ATV status. As it stands, the Denago Daytona 250 Fi delivers plenty of fun and overall value, enough to put a smile on the face of any new sport ATV enthusiast, at a price that's tough to beat. If you have a local dealer you trust, the Daytona 250 Fi may be worth checking out, especially for beginner-level riders looking for an approachable way to get into sport ATVs. Learn more about Denago Powersports and their full line of ATVs and motorcycles at denagopowersports.com.